This is pretty cool, man. So where'd you get it?
That's different. Where in the world did you get this?
It's been in my collection for 16 years.
Earlier, a woman brought in a copy of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, signed by Hunter S. Thompson.
This is something that definitely made a company's business easier.
One left-handed coffee cup.
Oh my gosh, they just called Chum slower than a hungover mess cook. The banter right out the gate is brutal. I love the energy in this shop. And then Rick drops the shop's philosophy. Family comes first, money comes second. You just know crazy stuff is about to walk in. That's the perfect Pawn Stars opener. Immediate personality clash, followed by the promise of wild items. Let's see what comes through that door.
You're slower than a hungover mess cook.
I'm not.
I swear to I ain't never seen nobody move that slow. Are you drunk or something?
No.
I mean, didn't it work out of you like cracking Fort Knox?
It's impossible to crack Fort Knox.
Sometimes I'd like to crack Chumley upside the head.
Wait, an iron lung? The customer just called it a piece of iron and a medical device. Rick immediately identifies it, which is so impressive. The customer found it in a construction yard. That is a wild place to discover a piece of medical history. Rick explains how it worked for polio patients. This thing is literally a tank that helped people breathe. It's fascinating, but also kind of haunting knowing people lived inside these for years.
Okay, bring it around to my back gate. I'll take a look at it there.
All right.
So when those really large items come in, I have a place to look at them. So this is it, huh? Where did you get an iron lung?
The guy wants $100,000. Rick's face says it all. He points out it's in terrible shape and no one collects this stuff. The customer argues it's a tremendous teaching tool. Rick's final verdict? Its value is right up there with scrap. That's gotta hurt. It's a harsh reality check between historical significance and actual market demand. I feel for the guy, but Rick's probably right about finding a buyer for something that huge and creepy.
How much were you looking to get out of it?
100,000.
You got a lot of problems here. It's in terrible shape and no one collects this kind of stuff.
My thought is, in a restored condition, would be a tremendous teaching tool for every doctor and clinician.
You know,
and
I
staff.
mean, it's interesting. I love the story, but as far as
A NASA space shuttle toilet seat, this is the most ridiculous, amazing item. The seller explains you need a good tight seal in space so there's no leakage. The mental image of using the bathroom in zero gravity is both hilarious and terrifying. Rick's already thinking about floating space turds. I love how Pawn Stars swings from somber history to literal space poop hardware. The seller wants $400. This is why I watch this show.
all right, and this is a picture of a space toilet.
Yes.
So how does this thing work?
In space, there's no gravity, so you get strapped in with your feet, and then you got stirrups that you can put over your legs to help hold you down.
Rick calls in an expert from an aerospace museum. Smart move, because how do you price a space toilet? The expert confirms the design and the whole zero outgassing feature. Rick calls that the politically correct word for fart. I'm dying. The expert drops knowledge about the foam core and vinyl seal. It's so weirdly technical for a toilet seat. This is the deep dive into obscure details I live for. Now, is it real? And will Rick buy it?
Going to the bathroom ain't part of that. In fact, in order to design this, they had to go out and measure the backsides of all the astronauts.
Okay, that took care of one end. How was the other end taken care of?
Meanwhile, Chum is getting revenge for the fool's errands. He tricked the old man into sitting in a spinning chair, and now he has to walk a line. Corey says, "I'm really dizzy." Chum would rather do pranks than work any day. It's a classic B-plot that shows the family dynamic. These guys have been friends forever, and it's just pure silly fun. It balances out the high-stakes pawn negotiations with some lighthearted shop antics.
The old man thinks he got the best of me by making me run dumb errands all day, but the joke's on him, because I'd rather do stuff like this than work any day. Now he had to stand up and walk in a straight line.
Back to the toilet seat expert. He says they had to measure all the astronauts' backsides to design this. That is an image I didn't need. And the early systems had basically a condom for men. Rick says talking about this feels like talking to his grandparents about sex. This conversation is unreal. It highlights the unglamorous, practical challenges of space travel that we never think about. A toilet was a huge step forward.
It's a polyurethane foam, and they coat it so you have zero outgassing in space.
Zero outgassing. That is a really politically correct word for fart and stinky. Jokes aside, the thing's pretty unique and kind of cool. My big concern is I don't know what to pay for it.
The key detail, seats that actually flew had a titanium serial number. This one doesn't, so it's a prototype that never went to space. That affects the value. The expert says space collectors will want anything though. Rick offers $200, seller holds at $400. They haggle. Rick's concern? Someone will think it's from a porta potty. Finally, they land on $300. The seller is happy, thinking he set a record for toilet seat sales.
Having met space collectors, they want anything.
All right, thanks, man.
Not a problem.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
I
Thanks for letting
appreciate
me
it.
see you.
Thank you.
How much do you want for it again?
$400.
I'll give you $200 for it.
About $400.
I mean, this is my big problem.
New customer, a woman who spent a weekend with Hunter S. Thompson and has a signed Fear and Loathing book. She got it in 1980 because he needed a typist. She says if she'd read the book first, she might not have gone. That is a legendary, terrifying story. Johnny Depp made the movie famous. The note he wrote to her is insane, calling Phoenix a white trash oil slick. Thompson's signature is pure chaotic energy.
I got it from Hunter S. Thompson.
You got it from Hunter S. Thompson? How'd you do that?
I actually spent a weekend with him in 1988.
Oh my God, and you survived.
I did survive.
Tell me about the weekend with Hunter S. Thompson. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Chum is on the phone, still pretending to look for a glass hammer. Then Corey tells him to pick up AC batteries. Chum is confused. Like batteries for AC current? It's double D batteries. He's fully committed to the bit, and they're doubling down on the prank. The commitment to the joke from both sides is what makes it funny. It's a silly distraction from the high-value items, keeping the episode's energy balanced and entertaining.
Hey, boss.
Chumley, where you at?
I'm at the, I'm looking for a glass hammer, like you told me.
Keep looking for a glass hammer.
I'm looking. I'm about to go to another hardware store. They didn't have one here. They told me to check the other place.
While you're at it, pick up some AC batteries.
All right, like batteries for AC current or batteries for my air condition? I'm confused.
Book expert Rebecca is here. She confirms the signature's real and talks about Thompson's gonzo journalism. The paperback itself is worth $5, but the inscription is everything. She says a typical Thompson move is signing with just his initials. She values it between $400 to $500 retail. That's way more than Corey expected. This is the expert appraisal moment that defines the show, giving us and the cast the true context to understand an item's worth.
It's a paperback. You could buy that online for $5. There's no collectible value in the paperback itself. That is really about the signature and the inscription. One of the great things about Thompson is that he's not the type of guy to sign best wishes. You've got that long, bizarre inscription. That's the type of thing he does.
Negotiation time. She wanted $800. Expert said $400 to $500. Corey offers $250. They go back and forth. She mentions he signed it personally. They finally settle on $350. She's pleased, noting Corey really liked Thompson, which helped. He got a great piece of literary history. You can tell he bought it partly as a fan, which is cool. It's not always just pure business. Sometimes it's about passion, which makes for a better deal.
I'll offer you $250.
$250? How about $375?
I gotta make more than $25 off the deal. I'll go $300.
It's kind of low. He did sign it personally. $350.
All right, you got a deal.
Chum returns with the fool's errand items. He brings a bucket with steam, dry ice fog, and a mug labeled left-handed on the bottom. The old man complains the coffee cup is too full. Chum says, "You did this to yourself." The prank came full circle. It was a harmless, creative bit that wasted Chum's time, but gave us a laugh. It's the perfect silly ending to an episode with an iron lung, a space toilet, and a Hunter S. Thompson book. Only on Pawn Stars.
One left-handed coffee cup.
Well, it is a bucket of steam.
You wanted a bucket of steam.
You know, ask and you shall receive, but be careful, that's hot.
But this is just a regular coffee cup.
No, that's left-handed. It says on the bottom of it, look.
They're arguing about parking already. The old man parked on the lines and says, "I'll park where I want." Rick says he gives old drivers a bad name. The old man fires back that news said the best drivers are in their 60s and 70s. Corey says that just proves he shouldn't drive if he believes that. The insults are flying. This family dynamic is pure chaos from the very first second. Love it.
The reason we have those white lines in the parking lot, we're supposed to park between them, not on them.
Look, my damn parking lot, I'll park where I want to.
Okay, Dad, you're the person who gives old drivers a bad rap.
Oh, shut up before you even go there. Right on the news the other night, they had that the best drivers now is the guys in the 60s and the 70s.
A 1965 Dan Electro bass owned by John Entwistle of The Who. The customer says it was one of his first basses. Rick is genuinely amazed, calling The Who one of the greatest rock bands ever. He tries to look cool holding it, and Corey immediately roasts him, saying he's never seen someone make a bass look so uncool. The customer wants $50,000. This is a huge rock history item right off the bat.
So what do we have here?
I have a 1965 Dan Electro Longhorn bass owned by John Entwistle of The Who.
Seriously?
One of his first basses that he ever owned.
That is amazing.
The plot thickens. The customer says Entwistle tried to record My Generation with this bass but kept breaking strings, so he used a Fender Jazz bass for the final recording. So this guitar is historically adjacent but not on the iconic track. Rick spots a Sotheby's tag from Entwistle's 2003 estate sale, which helps provenance. Rick is smart to be cautious. Without confirmation, it was played on stage or album. Its value is a big question mark.
All right, and the rest is history.
What's up with the Sotheby's tag? Is that where you got
The
it?
Sotheby's auction at John's estate sale on May 13th, 2003. It's listed in the Sotheby's catalog.
All right. It's definitely cool, man. How much do you want for it?
Cut to a Nixon paper dress from 1968. Rick has never seen one. They were a disposable fashion fad, but were fire hazards. Rick jokes about getting caught in a rainstorm and does his Nixon impression. I am not a crook. The dress was folded in her mom's bureau. Her grandfather worked at the Pentagon. It's a weird, perfect slice of political and fashion history. Who thinks to save a paper dress?
Well, it is actually a 1968 Nixon campaign paper dress.
I've seen the paper dresses. I have never seen a Nixon paper dress.
They were discontinued after a while because there were so many fire hazards, actually.
Oh, well, no, just imagine getting caught in a rainstorm.
Yeah.
Negotiation time. She wants $1,600. Rick says campaign stuff depends on the president's popularity. A Kennedy dress would be worth more. She points out they didn't make Kennedy dresses, just Nixon ones. Rick offers $300. They haggle. She says it's sentimental. They go back and forth in tiny increments, finally landing on $360. Rick hopes the buyer puts it in a watertight container. A solid deal for a piece of weird history.
I was gonna ask you if you would accept $600.
When you get campaign stuff like this, it really depends on how popular the president is now. If you had a Kennedy dress, it would go for more.
They didn't make Kennedy dresses, they made Nixon dresses.
Back to the bass with expert Jesse. He notes Dan Electro is a beginner to mid-level instrument but has a unique sound. He says you wouldn't see much wear because Entwistle played with a light touch. They plug it in and it works. The big question is value. Since it's not documented on a major song, Jesse says a mint one is a $2,000 bass. With Entwistle provenance, maybe $10,000 to $15,000 retail. A huge drop from $50,000.
They have a really neat sound, and a lot of guys picked them up and started using them because of that.
All right. He says that he played this in the studio. Okay. I'm looking at this thing and I'm looking at the finish on it. It doesn't look like it's been played.
I mean, you probably wouldn't see a lot of wear on John stuff, you know, and he held his hands.
Rick tells the customer the expert's estimate and offers $10,000 flat. The customer, a huge Who fan, decides to keep it. He says the least he'd take is $30,000 because his wife said she'd move back to Texas if he took less. That's a hilarious and high-stakes marital ultimatum. Rick says to call if he changes his mind. Sometimes the sentimental value is just too high, especially with a rock legends item.
When you first told me, you know, you wanted 50, I had my doubts, but it was the Who, and I was thinking maybe there was something special. But I would give you 10 grand for it. That would be the top dollar.
The bass player of the millennium.
But the thing is, there's probably over 100 of his guitars out there. No, I mean, 10,000's it. It's what the guitars were.
The driving test plot. Rick is worried because the old man can't see a book 6 inches away. The old man just renewed his license and claims the DMV said his eyesight is good. Rick insists on a test. Corey asks what a blinking red light means. The old man says you stop, wait 30 seconds, look around, then go. 30 seconds. That's not a rule. This is a disaster waiting to happen. Rick says he'll give him a test tomorrow.
I can drive, son.
You can't even park. What do you mean you could drive?
I am a great driver.
Dad, you drive down the road by Braille. Little bumps on the side of the road. Bump, 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 bump.
I haven't had a wreck in over 20 years.
When do you have to renew your driver's license?
I just did.
When?
2 weeks ago.
Who did you pay?
They're in a vacant lot with cones. Rick tells his dad to drive in and out without knocking any over. The old man says this is stupid. Chum is on the course to guide him, and the old man says, I don't want you to guide me. He claims he could have joined NASCAR. He starts driving, and it immediately looks bad. The guys are placing bets. This is the most dangerous comedy segment ever filmed.
Oh, shut up.
We came out to a vacant lot today to have my dad take a driving test because we think he drives like hell. Okay, Dad, I just want you to drive her out here, in and out the cones, don't knock any over.
This is stupid.
I just want to see if you can do it, all right?
Watch Chumley on some of them.
I'm there to guide you.
He's hitting cones. Rick says, this is scary. He's worse than I thought. The old man is just plowing through them. He finally stops and claims he did it perfectly. Rick says, Dad, you hit every cone. The old man's iconic reply, I didn't hit every cone. I missed all of them except the ones with Chumley's face on it. I was taking target practice. He was intentionally aiming for Chum's face. That's hysterical and terrifying.
I think he's...
Oh! Is he stopped? He's backing up.
This is definitely a fail.
This is scary. He's worse than I thought.
I think he's...
Oh! What's he doing? Ah!
You guys might want to back up here.
Dad! This is ridiculous.
New item. A 1940 Indian Chief motorcycle with a sidecar, a World War II relic. Corey is excited. Motorcycles are his thing. The seller is funding his daughter's college. He wants $46,000 to $45,000, maybe a bit lower. He bought it in the UK. It was sent to France for the war, used by the French, then captured by the Germans. That's incredible history. A running World War II veteran bike with a sidecar is an insanely cool find.
I got an alley in the back. You want to pull it back there?
You got it.
Motorcycles are my thing. So I have pretty high standards when someone brings one in to sell. Hopefully this guy has something unique that we can make some money on. So this is it, huh? It's nice.
Thank you.
Tell me what you got.
You got a 1940 Indian Chief with sidecar. It's a World War II veteran.
The expert Chris takes it for a test ride with Corey in the sidecar. Chris says it rides smooth. He values the bike at $40,000 and the sidecar at $5,000 to $6,000, totaling about $46,000. The seller invested a lot and isn't happy. His bottom line was $46,000. Corey says he just sold a similar one for $42,000. They haggle. The seller needs $40,000 to cover costs. Corey, a sucker for bikes, agrees to $40,000, a deal for education.
So why'd you bring me down here, man? This thing's beautiful.
I need to know what it's worth.
Before I give a price, I mean, I'd like to take a ride in it, see how the suspension is in that sidecar.
You bet.
I'm really excited to go on a test ride. I know how sidecars are. They're fun.
The episode ends back on the parking feud. The old man parked perfectly between the lines in Rick's spot to prove he's a good driver. Rick says, "You're still in my spot." The old man says, "I didn't see your name on it." Corey says, "Good job, Grandpa. Keep messing with him." It's the perfect circular ending. The old man's chaotic energy remains undefeated. What a fantastic episode full of history and family chaos.
I wanted to show you that I'm a good driver, so I parked directly between the two lines. If you go out there and measure, there's not an inch difference between each side of the line.
Still, you're in my spot.
I didn't see your name on it.
A creature from the Black Lagoon replica signed by the original actor. That's an awesome horror collectible. The customer says it scared him as a kid in the 1950s. Corey notes it was the last of the classic monster films before atomic age monsters took over. He even mentions Spielberg paying tribute to its underwater shots in Jaws. This is a deep-cut film reference that shows Corey's genuine nerd knowledge. Great start to the episode.
Yeah, this is a 1920s English Channel buoy light.
I'm like super nerding out on this thing, dude.
This is a handwritten, intimate communication between the two biggest icons probably in entertainment history.
At my shop, family comes first and money comes second, depending on who you ask.
Whoa, a handwritten love letter from Judy Garland to Frank Sinatra. The customer says it's an incredible piece of Hollywood history. Rick assumes they were having a fling. The letter is on her personalized, embossed paper. It talks about missing their Monday and Tuesday date. Rick notes they all hung out together back then because they were celebrities. This is scandalous old Hollywood gossip walking through the door. He wants $15,000. That's a huge ask.
This is a handwritten love letter from Judy Garland to Frank Sinatra.
All right. I would just assume if they were having a fling.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know a lot about Judy Garland, but it makes perfect sense for Frank Sinatra.
Back to the creature. The seller has photos of himself with actor Ben Chapman from 1998 when he got it signed. He also has a Super 8 film reel and the 3D glasses from the original release. That's a full nostalgia package. He's looking for $2,200. Corey counters at $1,600, citing how long it might take to sell. The seller says they go for $3,500 online and $2,200 is a steal. This is a real negotiation.
1954 Universal Classic Monster, the creature from the Black Lagoon.
That's different. Where in the world did you get this?
It's been in my collection for 16 years, and it was signed by the original actor who played Gilman, the creature of the Black Lagoon.
They haggle. Corey offers $1,800. The seller counters at $1,900. Corey accepts. The seller is happy, though he wanted $2,200. He understands they need to make a profit. It's a fair deal for a signed piece of monster movie history. I love seeing a seller who is reasonable and gets the business side. Corey gets a cool, creepy centerpiece for the shop. And we got a deal in the first segment.
The Creature from the Black Lagoon is a great horror movie from the 1950s. Some people say that the opening underwater shots and Jaws are a tribute to the movie, since Steven Spielberg was a big fan of the Black Lagoon.
Chum finds the creature statue and jokes it looks like Corey. They argue about old horror movies. Corey loves the low-budget 50s flicks. Chum says they're not scary, with no guts or blood. Corey says modern horror is all stupid special effects and not real. Chum claims nothing scares him. Corey says, the only thing that scares me is you guys help me run my business. This banter is the heart of the show.
Looks more like you, Baldy.
Whatever. I absolutely love this. All those horror flicks from the 50s are so great. They just had such ridiculously low budgets.
They're not even scary. But there's no guts or blood or...
Have you seen the horror movies today?
New item. A 1920s English Channel buoy light, solid brass. Rick is super nerding out. The seller explains read, write, returning for navigation. He wants $2,500 for his daughter's college. Rick gives a history lesson. Before radar, these buoys and lighthouses saved countless lives by helping sailors navigate blindly. It's a beautiful piece of maritime engineering. Rick's passion for functional history is always so cool and informative.
Oh, good, man. This is cool.
Check out this buoy. Yeah, this is a 1920s English Channel buoy light. It's all solid brass.
I'm like super nerding out on this thing, dude. Things like this were so important. It wasn't until after World War II that there was like a commercial radio guidance system for ships.
They open it up. Rick explains it's an acetylene gas torch that heats a piece of limestone to create a bright light. That's where "in the limelight" comes from, used for stage lighting. That is a fantastic bit of etymology. This thing is a piece of phrase origin history. You can see Rick's genuine fascination. He loves the design and the fact it survived years in the ocean. He really wants it.
100 miles from the shore, or I'm 2 miles from the shore. That's what these things did. This, foghorns, lighthouses, and that's how they navigated everything. These things saved, countless lives, countless amounts of money.
Negotiation. Seller wants $2,500. Rick offers $1,500. They meet at $1,800. Rick is thrilled. He loves it. The seller is happy to give all $1,800 to his daughter, calling himself a good dad. That's a sweet motivation. Rick got a stunning maritime antique for a good price. This is Pawn Stars at its best. Cool history, fair dealing, and a good story behind the sale.
But what would you take for it?
Well, make me an offer. Make me an offer I can't resist.
It's deeply cool. I'll give you $1,500 for it.
Can you do 22?
Can we compromise at like 1,700?
1850, we got a deal.
So 1,800?
1800 is.
The handwriting expert, Steve, examines the Garland letter. He checks the ink and handwriting patterns, comparing it to known examples. He confirms it's unquestionably real, written in her sort of cursive style. The story jives with the rumored relationship from that 1948 to 1949 period, but he drops the bomb. Her market is flooded with signatures, keeping values down. He estimates it's worth only $3,000 to $3,500, a far cry from $15,000.
Sinatra, Garland, because that was about 1948-49 range. They became kind of friends, maybe lovers. Though the interesting thing is she was married, to different guys all through that range.
It's a neat letter. I mean, it definitely, you read this letter, you don't even have to read between the lines.
Rick tells the customer the expert's value and offers $1,500. The customer is shocked. He calls it an intimate communication between the two biggest icons in entertainment history. He says anybody would jump over the rainbow to get it. He thinks it could fetch up to $10,000 at auction. They can't make a deal. Sometimes the emotional and historical value just doesn't align with the cold, hard collector's market.
I mean, this is really an intimate communication between the two biggest icons probably in entertainment history. This is an extraordinary piece.
It's really cool, but I think you're being unrealistic with a price of $1,000. I think
anybody who appreciates the history of Hollywood would just jump over the rainbow to get this thing, you know?
And I can make money at $1,500 bucks.
A Vectrex game system from 1982. It's a self-contained unit with a screen and controller. The seller says it still works perfectly after 32 years. He plugs it in and plays it. The seller is asking $200. He calls in an expert, Johnny.
The good old Vectrex, huh?
Remember this?
This thing's pretty cool. It's a self-contained video system. It's got the screen, it's got the controller right down here.
Right.
You just pop that.
Yes.
Controller pulls out. I'm guessing you chose this because it was portable.
Expert Johnny arrives and nerds out. He says the Vectrex was quality, had 28 games, 3D goggles, and a light pen. It's still respected, with new games being made for it by fans today. In this condition, without the box, it could retail for $250 to $275. That's great info. It has a dedicated cult following. This is why experts are crucial. They uncover niche markets Rick and Corey wouldn't know.
So the kids didn't have to take over the family television. You know, they could take this to the room, or they could carry this to the friend's house, wherever they went. I mean, it was all together. The Vectrex only had 28 games, and then it also had, you had the 3D goggles, which was pretty cool, and it had a light pen. It was well thought and well executed, and a lot of these systems that survive still work today.
Negotiation time. The seller points out the $275 retail value. They go back and forth, hoping to sell for $250. They settle on $150. The seller thinks it's low but fair, considering no accessories. He's moved on from gaming. Another solid deal wrapped up.
Yeah, it is good news. Give me $100 for it.
100? I was asking $2. It's worth $275 retail. You got $75 in it, and they're so rare, and it's such a great system. I mean, $175.
The episode ends with Rick's dad revealing Rick was scared of dogs as a kid. Rick explains it's because his dad brought home a mongrel dog that mauled him, requiring 20 stitches. His dad fires back, "You know what's scary? 20 years from now, you're gonna look like him," pointing at Chum. Bald and fat. Now that's scary. A brutal, hilarious family roast to close. Perfect.
When you were a kid, you were scared of dogs.
You were scared of dogs?
That's pathetic. Dogs are man's best friend.
Maybe it's because when I was 6 years old, you brought home some mongrel dog that ended up mauling me, and I got 20 stitches in my back.
A 1910 envelope sealer. Rick jokes about a power company worker licking thousands of envelopes a day. The customer got it at an estate sale and wants $400 for her husband's birthday present. Rick nerds out, pointing out the gold leafing and how aesthetics mattered back then. He explains it was high-tech, evolving into machines that do 15,000 envelopes an hour now. A perfectly mundane yet fascinating piece of office history.
Can you imagine if you worked for the power company, licking clothes, a few thousand power bills a day? You go home like, ha, ha, ha.
I brought you Moby Dick. It's an original from 1942.
They negotiate. She wants $400. Rick says it's more a decorator item, worth a couple hundred. He offers $100. They go back and forth in tiny increments. She says $135. He holds at $125. Finally, Rick says, "Just because I'm a wonderful human being, I will go $130. Deal." She took $130 because she didn't want to take it home again. A classic Pawn Stars haggle over a quirky item.
I'd like to, yes.
How much you want for it?
I was thinking about 400.
It's more of a decorator thing than it is a collector thing, you know what I mean? Weird little things like this go for a couple $100 in this size. I'll give you 100 for it.
Can you do 100 and a half?
I'll tell you what, I'll give you 125 for it.
A 1942 Moby Dick comic book. The seller bought it for his dad who collects whale books, but his dad said it's just a comic. So now he's selling it, hoping for $600 to buy a proper whaling book. The seller knows the whale wins in the end. It's a classic comics edition, meant to get kids to read the real book, a literary slice of nostalgia.
It's an original from 1942.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
The story about Free Willy.
Well, you can call me Ishmael if you'd like. Then I'll go back and figure out what whaling book my dad would like.
Corey calls in comic expert Paul. He points out the 10-cent price means it's a first edition, not a reprint. There's a rare variant with a letter from the editor inside, which this one has. The colors are great, but there's some edge damage and a stain. Paul values it at about $550, not far from the $600 ask. It's a really nice copy. The seller looks nervous, but that's a solid expert appraisal.
Just buy the 10 cent. If you have a 15 cent or blank, it's most likely a reprint.
So how collectible is this in the comic book? book world?
Well, this book actually has a pretty rare variant. On the regular edition, on the inside front cover, there is a letter from the editor.
Negotiation time. The seller, knowing Corey needs room, asks $500. Corey counters at $350, citing the risk. The seller wants $450. They meet at $375. The seller is happy because it covers his original cost and gets a whaling book for his dad. Corey gets a cool, historic comic. It's a fair deal where both sides understand the market and the item's niche appeal. That's good business.
I got to take all the risk of someone handling it and selling it and 100 different people looking at it. Would you go 350 on it?
I'd be much happier at 450.
I could do 375, but I think that's my limit on it.
All right, 375.
All right, we got a deal.
Rick visits his buddy Derek at a casino to see a Sigma Derby horse racing slot machine. Rick says it was the coolest thing in the 80s. He and his buddies played all night. Derek calls it a community slot machine, where everybody's in it together. It's a 10-player game. Derek says some believe making your first Vegas bet on it brings good luck. It's a huge, iconic piece of Vegas nostalgia.
This was like the coolest thing in the world back in the 80s. Me and my buddies used to play this thing all night long. You know, it's not like a...
Can I borrow a couple bucks?
You got hundreds.
That'll do.
Bring me change.
Yeah, I'm gonna get 2 rolls of quarters.
Back in the day, I absolutely loved these things.
Derek wants to sell. Rick asks the price. Derek says he needs about $80,000. Rick has no idea if that's good and calls an expert. Derek is proud of the machine and excited for an expert to see its great shape. Meanwhile, Chum is already playing it, claiming he has a system. Rick tells him he's taking it too seriously. The contrast between business and childlike fun is perfect.
You know, we've had it up here a couple years. I've loved this game, but I'm open.
Okay. How much you want for it?
This thing's pretty special. I probably need about $80,000.
I have no idea if that's a good price. So let me call a buddy of mine and let me have a look at it.
Back at the shop, a customer has a dollar bill signed by Ronald Reagan and Walt Disney. He bought it at a private auction and believes it's from the early 1950s, maybe from Disneyland's opening, where Reagan was MC. He wants $4,300. Corey notes they were both actors and informants during the Red Scare. The signatures are sloppy and faded. Corey wisely calls an expert to verify before any offer.
This one's signed by former President Ronald Reagan and Walt Disney.
Oh, wow. Sorry about that. This is really cool. So do you know any of the story behind it?
Ronald Reagan was the MC for the opening of Disneyland.
Okay.
And with the date of the bill, I believe it to be from that time, but I can't say with 100% confidence.
Slot machine expert Nick arrives. He says Sigma was created to be different. Every major casino had one in 1985, but they always broke down. This one works with all 10 stations running. He's seen them as low as $7,000 unrestored, but in this shape, probably $30,000 to $40,000. That's way below the $80,000 ask. Rick thanks him. Nick refuses to change the settings so Rick can win, calling that cheating.
Let me tell you a little bit about the machine. Sigma was created by Katsuki Manabe back in the 60s, and he learned quickly to compete in the slot machine industry, you need to make machines that are not like everybody else is making. So he made this. And just about every major casino in town back in 1985 had one of these.
Rick tells Derek the expert's valuation is $30,000 to $40,000. Derek needed $80,000. Rick says, that's not gonna happen. I guess I can't make you an offer. No deal. Derek says it's worth more to him on the floor. Sometimes sentimental and business value just don't match. Chum is still playing, making Rick wait. Rick threatens to leave him. Chum shouts he needs to cash out. The machine wins over business.
You know, for me, I needed 80.
That's not gonna happen. Well, I guess I can't make you an offer. There's just no money here. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for showing it to me.
Thanks.
Brings back memories. Come on, Chum.
Hold on, I'm waiting on this last race.
Chum.
I'll meet you in the car 1 minute behind you.
Okay, if you're not there in 2 minutes, I'm leaving without, you're walking to the shop.
Signature expert Steve examines the dollar bill. He compares the Reagan and Disney signatures to his files. He points out specific flourishes, like Reagan's lazy G and Disney's flowing autograph. Despite creases and fading, he concludes both signatures are authentic, no doubt. That's huge. Having 2 iconic names on one bill is incredibly unique. The verification is the most critical step for an item like this.
So what are your concerns? I can tell that the signatures are not the greatest. And then other than that, man, I have no idea what combined they could be worth.
Okay, cool.
So the first thing I'll do, Corey, I want to look at the examples that I have on file, both these guys. The first one I'm going to look at is Reagan.
Steve values the authenticated bill at about $3,000, considering the condition. Corey, based on that, offers $1,800. The seller thinks his $4,300 is fair. Corey goes up to $2,200 as his best offer. The seller declines, saying he thinks it will bring more. The offer stands if he changes his mind. Sometimes, you just can't bridge the gap between a seller's hope and a buyer's calculated risk.
I'd put this value right at about $3,000.
All right, man, I appreciate it. Cool.
Good to see you, man. Yep. Good luck. Yeah.
All right, so it's legit, and my guy's saying I could probably sell it for $3,000. So I would pay like $1,800.
Yeah, I mean, I really think my 4,300 is actually.
The episode ends with Chum bragging about winning money on the Sigma Derby with Rick's quarters. Rick says, "You lost my money, but you won your money." Chum wants to put in another $20. They argue about jockeys. Chum claims he'd be a great jockey. Rick says Chum is the size of 4 jockeys and feels sorry for any horse he rides. Chum asks for a compliment. Rick says, "Your head's really shiny." Perfect insult.
I lost that $100.
Let me get this straight. You lost my money, but you won your money.
Yeah, when I put up another 20, it went crazy. Dude, jockey's got to be the easiest job in the world.
I'd be a better jockey than you guys.
Ha! You're the size of 4 jockeys.